All right, guys. So welcome back to Boxmining, and we have a special segment with Charles here, and we're in Genesis Block, one of the OTC desks in Hong Kong, and we're going to do a little bit of segment about what's happening in the crypto markets because Charles, as the head trader of Genesis Block, you see and have access to a lot of information that technically we don't have. We can ask you a little bit about what's happening, but first, actually, kind of explaining an OTC desk. I think this is something that we haven't really done in too much detail about. Can you explain why you guys exist? What's the kind of value provided by an OTC?
Yeah. So Michael and everybody at Boxmining, thanks for having me on. I think it's been quite a while. Maybe like 6 months almost since our last video. So to really explain OTC in a nutshell, it's a service we provide for clients that are looking for deeper liquidity than going directly to exchanges. To give you the most basic example, if you want to buy 10 Bitcoins right now, you can go to Binance or all these other exchanges. You will not get the price that you see that's shown on the exchange, right? There is an order book, there's a liquidity factor that goes into it, and there's also fees that are involved. Of course, there's, in general, exchanges do have very low fees these days. You're paying something like 0.2%, 0.1%. But OTC provides this benefit where you can lock prices for bigger quantity at any instant, actually. And the service is, a lot more tailored to individuals that prefer speaking to people rather than clicking on a platform. So this covers not just, pricing and quoting, but covers settlements. It covers any questions you have about a specific coin, how to use wallets. And there's all these additional services that come from Genesis Block.
So it's more tailored, and kind of the way I always envisioned it, it's kind of something for kind of the mini whales, the whales, and the dolphins out there. Kind of people who, if you're just selling $10 worth of Bitcoin or $100 worth of Bitcoin, then yeah, whatever, go on the exchange. That's probably viable. But once you're up to say 100,000, a million, or not even 100,000, maybe $10,000 or something like that, there is slippage that you get on exchanges where the prices drop if you sell or prices rise if you buy. So in that case, that's the case where LTCs come in. So yeah.
So I think to generalize all OTC trading desks is probably not the right thing to do. Every desk has their kind of niche in the market. So for instance, we're in Hong Kong. Hong Kong doesn't actually have a very efficient crypto exchange. So if you have Hong Kong dollars and you want to buy crypto, there's actually not many places you can go to do that. Another example is a lot of the clients we've seen recently, they're trading with us with the purpose of moving capital. These are guys that perhaps, maybe they start with Korean won, maybe they start with renminbi, and they have managed to purchase crypto on one end, but they need to deliver a payment or some sort of, cash delivery, which is more on the Hong Kong, maybe Macau side. So these kind of clients are constantly, heavy flow traders. They don't mind where they do it. They can do an exchange, they can do OTC. They'll just pick the option that makes most sense for them. So fortunately for us in Hong Kong, we are one of the top providers for this kind of service where they can just pick up Hong Kong dollar cash, US dollar cash, with big size. I'm talking about, something close to a few 100,000 USD. This is something that we believe, we are very good at, and there's not many ways to compete against it. Yeah.
And this leads to the next bit. So you guys have the flow, and so what's kind of happening with the markets right now? Do you see kind of more traders coming in because of coronavirus? We have kind of a lot of changes that are happening right now. Markets react like that. And I've kind of always, see, this is a secret, guys. I've always relied on a lot of intel from different sources, and Charles kind of is one of them, although he is very discreet about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely speak more on what's happening in China, Hong Kong. So yeah, I mean, the timing-wise, market did go up significantly this year. And, coincidentally, that is when there has been a crisis in terms of this virus outbreak. Can't really, really determine whether it's correlated and whether, one is creating causality for the other. But what we do see in terms of the impact is, naturally, a country's economy is crippled when there is a virus outbreak. A lot of shops, restaurants, people are not going out to the mall. In general, businesses are struggling. So for us as well, we've been working out of home for the last 2 weeks, and we just reopened. Well, it's like a semi-reopen just a couple of days ago. The first thing we noticed was Macau shut down. And then we quickly realized a lot of our clients that trade with us on a daily basis are actually dealing a lot with the casinos. And what happens with that is as soon as one channel is blocked, the whole cycle is basically halted, right? So what we saw since the Macau closed is volume dropped dramatically for us. So these are like indirect ways that the virus affects businesses. Obviously, people are not walking in here as much anymore, but they do reach out through social media and.
So do you have any new customers? Are there Chinese people that are concerned they want to move money out of China because of what's happening right now? Are there any new customers right now?
Yeah, I think that's always been steady.
So it's just no spike.
Yeah, not really a spike, but there's always, you can imagine the amount of renminbi, amount of wealthy individuals that, are living in China, have capital in China. This is always a steady flow. So I think we haven't noticed anything different, but we just continue to cater to those clients as well. Yeah.
Okay. So how about your assets? I mean, right now, we also saw Ethereum almost outperforming Bitcoin right now. Do you see more interest on Ethereum or even Ripple or Tron? Any weird requests that you're getting?
So, I mean, the first one was BSV, right? So the halving play, this theme is, Bitcoin first and then BSV, BCH is just going through the roof right now. This is something that I really didn't expect, especially now that it's spread over to Ethereum, like Tezos. There's all these altcoins that were ignored for the past year and a half that are suddenly going back to, in terms of US dollar levels, they're coming back to something what we used to see back in the day.
Yeah. So, over $200 Ethereum. I mean, who would have known, right?
Yeah. Haven't really been bullish on any of these alts recently. So it looks like, this, what would drive something like this, right? It's definitely fund flow in terms of bigger players taking the lead on, okay, so we've made money on BSV. Now what's next, right? And then the pick coins with lower liquidity.
So what actually happened during the BSV huge pump? I mean, that went up like crazy. That had a lot of influence from Chinese. Are you privy to say anything that happened?
No, so I'm not really sure like which people were involved, but obviously there was a lot of hype around Craig Wright, convincingly saying that he was going to reveal that he had the private keys. And as everyone knows, BSV is closely tied with Craig Wright, and he believes he is Satoshi Nakamoto. So, there was a rally up till then, and then he didn't actually prove that he had the private keys.
I love your language and phrasing. It just needs to be so perfect right now. It's like, this is so hard to discuss without pissing people off.
It was a good run. I think it's still doing quite well. Like once it corrected, it's still rallying quite well.
So you guys had volume here. You guys had flow for BSV here? Or?
Yeah, but nothing too crazy. And actually, during the day that it rallied the most, we were looking at what other desks were. We were looking at their spreads, and it was all over the place. The pricing across exchanges was all over the place. I think if we had programs ready to trade this immediately, I think a lot of the quant funds, they all made a lot of money off this.
That's good business for any ARB opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. So it still happens. Crypto. You think that arbitrage is very easy and it disappears quickly, but as we speak, there's lots of these arbitrage opportunities, especially if you mix in fiat currencies.
So right now you're saying that in terms of flow, there's slightly less from the casual players, but the new players coming in is still there. Do you see any new interest right now? Like, I guess it's hard to say because you can't host events right now. Yeah. So
when Bitcoin does well, it brings in interest. This is a pattern that will never change.
Because we saw Chain 2020? That was a conference held in Hong Kong, which was very, very hey. Kind of MLM level conference.
Oh, did you go to that?
Let's not go to that.
Yeah. So this
I
stuff
heard about it, but I didn't want to go and hey myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking. I don't know who is sponsoring these and where they're getting the money, but I mean, when Bitcoin goes up 10% in a month, people start paying attention again, and they think, now we have to buy.
Which is ironically the worst time.
Yeah, I mean, but I think this pattern of retail paying attention only when it moves, it's going to be, another, like a repetitive cycle. So, right now we've gone back below 10K. people aren't thinking, oh, great, now it's below 10K, let's buy it. They're thinking, oh, maybe it wasn't a rally after all, and they lose interest. And just say in a month or two, we're at 12K, 15K, then they're going to be interested again. So this is just how human beings work. We're animals, right? So yeah, I think it's Bitcoin price that moves, that brings in interest. So that's why whales and all these big players can play this game, right?
So one of the last questions I say, because the halving is coming, we know things might be moving a bit. So this question we've been asking for a lot of people, which is like, what do you think is the highest point that Bitcoin can go? Like the highest, okay? Let's take the peak that Bitcoin can go right before the halving, or like from now to the halving, what's the highest? From now to May, what's the highest?
Well, I think 20K doesn't sound that feasible, because it will probably require more capital than in 17. So when we hit all-time high in December 17, that was a much less liquid market. This time, obviously futures, spot and futures actually, the total volume has grown a lot in the last 2 years. So it's going to take a lot more capital to push it up. So I think 20K is probably too high of a target. But you'll see a nice spike to like maybe 14, 15.
14, 15.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll see if that happens, and we'll keep you updated. So guys, talking about OTCs as well, do you guys take international customers? I've been working full disclosure wise, I've been really good friends with these guys, and we're looking for kind of how we can work together in the future. And international customers, how do you deal with that? Do you guys have accounts overseas? How would anyone, like, if they're watching from anywhere?
So we have a pretty wide network of banking channels. Couple outlets in Europe, a lot in Asia. So more countries than I can count. Probably over a dozen different countries in Asia. For clients in the US, obviously we have to be very careful with the tax implications that affect us. But as of right now, we have been dealing with US individuals, institutions, and based on our legal kind of counsel, they said, for now, as a company that's based outside the US, we're fine to do business with them. So it's been very smooth. As you know, like Silvergate, Signature Bank, these are very crypto-friendly banks. They offer 24/7 settlement, a lot of benefits of banking in the US. So really, we're not limited to any country specifically. Obviously, we have to follow AML rules globally. So any country that's sanctioned, like North Korea, Iran, big no-no. And there are also these medium-risk countries that we avoid. But besides that, everyone's welcome to talk to us.
So what's the process? So like, if someone wants to sign up for trade on OTC, what's the process that they'll have to go through?
Yeah, so you don't even have to, the way the world works now is all the registration is done online. So for instance, Binance requests a selfie. We do that as well. So you can click on a link. You'll see a form. You submit some basic documents and of course a selfie to prove that you are the one, actually applying to register.
So it's KYC first. Okay.
And then you get looped into a group chat. And this is basically a group designated for you where you can speak with, I guess it would be over 10 people that are all Genesis Block employees. And that means you can get service pretty much around the clock.
24
so
hours
any
service,
questions about how to wire money, where to send my coins, what kind of pricing you're looking for, like all this can be just a very simple conversation with one of our traders.
Okay, so it's like, yo, Charles, I need to buy some Bitcoin, right? ASAP.
Yeah.
And that will happen. So, okay, so that's kind of the procedure. If you guys want to know more about OTCs, I actually did an article. It's one of the things that really, I didn't understand at the start. And, these guys, they helped me understand, understand why they're around. And I hope you guys do well in expansion. And hopefully,
thanks, Michael,
goes to 14K.
I don't know if we shouldn't be shaking hands.
Oh, shit. And we should be wearing masks. So Charles got his mask ready. So
we got a mask on.
We should have done this here. Oh, crap. Obviously, I'm not the mask expert. There we go. All right, next interview will be like this.